Fatima Al Jarman and Shazia Salam are from the Gulf Creative Collective to reflect on and respond to this edition of March meeting. Lubnah, Bhoomika, Fatima, and Shazia have observed the different areas of social engagement during this edition of the conference and will offer their insights in this session. Please join me in welcoming them.
Hi. Hello, everyone. This is the last session, so I can understand if your attention's waning. This is not a panel. It's not a conventional panel anyway. It's a debriefing session, which means we want to make some room. We've had 3 days, which is not a lot of time, to have a lot of conversations, and we want you to bring up anything that you feel needs more breathing room. So throughout the session, there is only one guiding rule, and the rule is everything during this session is optional, including listening to us. So if you want to have conversations that you've been wanting to have throughout throughout March meetings, please feel free to do that now. I'm going to move on to...
But to begin, we thought we'd explain how we know each other. MM means a lot to us. The idea of collectives means a lot to us because collectives are what brought us together. So my name is Fatima. I'm a writer from the UAE. I'm based between here and New York.
My name is Bhoomika. I'm a writer, UAE.
My name is Lubnah. I practice art and based in Abu Dhabi.
And I'm Shazia. I am a visual artist, and I practice in UAE and in India as well.
And
do you want to do it? I'll do it. Do you want to do it? I'll do it. How we met.
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. So it's kind of fitting that we're here because we met each other through collectives. So it's not one collective. The three of us met through something that I did under Gulf Creative Collective a long time ago. I met Fatima through Unutha, which is another collective. They run a collective together now with a couple of people in the audience. So yeah, it's a lot of collectives, so it's not one singular thing. It's a practice that bleeds.
Yeah, a practice that bleeds into each other. Like, I think the result of us being here right now is not representing a singularity, but what happens when collectives leak. And I guess we're kind of here present as a bunch of leakages. And also that we met each other while coming up against a lot of systems here. That's really important to mention, that it was a result of coming up against systems.
And I think it's also important because UAE-based collective, right? Another thing we wanted to explain, just so that you know our context, is our relationship with Sharjah and SAF. So we were invited here by Sharjah Art Foundation as independent observers. So for the last 3 days, do you want to take this?
Yeah, for the last 3 days, we've just been bearing witness. Together and individually, we've been listening to the talks, trying to go to workshops when we can, trying to get through the very, very hectic schedule, like all of you, and sharing meals and discussing what's been taking place over the last 3 days. So we thought we would invite all of you in that process. We've been debriefing a lot, and we wanted to share that practice with you.
Yeah.
So this meeting has been about collectives, but the configuration of conversation has been quite interesting. It's been, on-stage speakers versus off-stage listeners, and we really want to break that. We really want us to come together in a communal setting and talk instead. So we invite all of you to change how you're sitting. We actually want you all to face towards the center of this room, if you're able to. So move your chair, move where you're...
The seating, if you'd like to. If you're not comfortable, look for another position. If you're more comfortable on the ground, please you can move the cushions.
If the people at the back want to come to the front
Everything's optional.
and get a little closer, that would also be cool because you won't be able to see us on the stage.
I think we're gonna be here as well.
Come closer together. If there's an empty space somewhere that you want to, if you want to.
We're just gonna do this for a few minutes. The process of doing this is a mess, so that's okay. That's also what it means to be collectively working, thinking, feeling together, right? So just embrace the messiness of what it means to position your bodies together and find a way where your bodies can also look at each other and speak to each other. And while we orient ourselves in the space, I'm going to be passing along Teer. Teer is our camera. She's an extension of our body and our collective for the past 3 days. She's really been helping us do the work of witnessing. And I think there's different things in the space that help us orient or bring presence to the space and each other. And I think Teer has been one of those things for us. So I'm just I have a lot of space on the SD card, so don't worry. But there's a Zoom thing. You can just play with it and figure it out. And I'm gonna press the record button. You can stop the recording whenever you please. Yeah. But I just ask that you keep passing it along, and maybe it'll do some, and then, so while I do this, yeah.
Okay, this has also been really helpful for us for the past 3 days. And I think with Teer, we're just going to pass this along too, and you can play around with
It's a
it
really
while
great,
we're talking
squeezy
as well,
ball, very tactile. Everyone in this room is really good at intellectualizing. We all know that. Brains 10 on 10, guys. But we wanted to take this time to remind ourselves that we have bodies and that everything that we've talked about over the last 3 days, there are strong emotional components to it. So, and the other thing we were talking about is it's really fun to watch collectives that are in their nature. I don't know. If anyone disagrees, please jump in here. But working in collectives is messy. And part of that is when you go up on stage and you're giving an impact report of your collective, it doesn't quite represent the way the work is actually done. Because there are no edges, there are no frayed edges, which collective work always, always, always have. And consensus is hard to reach. Sometimes, you can't even get movement. Sometimes things just don't happen, or they're excruciatingly slow. So this chaos is to bring some of that energy into this space and kind of break some molds. Okay.
So now that we're sharing this space together, I think it would be cool to do some reintroductions. I don't know who you are here as. I don't know who's in staff. I don't know who is a speaker. I don't know who's here for fun. So we kind of want to meet you guys, and I want you all to introduce yourself to each other. So if the members of staff could please raise their hand so we could see them and meet you. Oh my gosh, you're all together.
For everyone who's communicated with them via email, these are the faces.
Nice to meet you, Sav.
Great to see some of you. I didn't even know, so that's great. If you're here as an invited speaker, raise your hand.
Nice to see you guys. If you're here for fun or curiosity, raise your hand. Oh my gosh, so many. Okay, that's awesome. That's amazing.
You can be both. You can be both. And if you're based in the UAE, raise your hand.
Okay, so many folks. Yeah.
Cool.
A lot more people than we thought.
Yeah. This is also data collection. We're exploiting you like Instagram.
Okay, it was so lovely to meet you guys.
Can I also say one thing? Because there are also people who weren't able to join us in the March meeting, such as Mossab, who was here with us virtually on Friday. And also the non-human beings who are present in the space with us, like the birds that have created nests on this cage, or the ghosts that we're carrying into the space or don't have any attachment to us. So there's all these different elements that are present, visible and invisible, that just to be in awareness with, you know? Yeah.
I just want to ask one thing. Are there any disagreements to the idea of collective work being messy? Because I want to hear from you. No? Anyone want to talk about the messiness? Not yet. Okay, cool. Fatima.
I think now that we've just kind of done some reintroductions, we really want to know what's coming up for you. So the day's coming to an end. We're all going to be leaving. March meeting won't be happening for another 12 months. So what's coming up for you right now? That we've had these discussions about collectives, that we've had speakers, we've had workshops, we've had discussions, we've had questions. What's coming up for you? If anybody wants
Before
to speak.
Lubna, or do you want to go? Oh, so Shazia said something before we started this exercise, which was usually when you go to symposiums or conferences, actually they both put it on the board. We don't know anymore. Citation is really messy inside of collectives because we like to remember who said what, but you can't always. And we had a conversation basically about in symposiums, what was it? Lost my train of thought. Hold on.
That's okay.
Can I? Yes. Can I take it?
Yes.
Okay. We said many things also, but I'm just thinking of the one thing that I think we were all in really strong alignment with, which is these moments in symposiums that break a hole through something,
Yes.
you know, like it really brings us back to our bodies and how we are present with each other. And I think one of those moments we all felt very strongly for those who were able to be present was on Friday when there was this panel with Sakia, Betel Karama, and other Indias. And I think the question that was asked was about the future, the future of collectives. I'm not quite sure what the question was, but I remember that other Indias, they're present with us today, they answered the question through a song. And
We were all shook. Like, it was, everyone felt it. I think everyone in the room, everyone outside the room.
Yeah, and we were just wondering if maybe we could invite you to sing the song one more time and if we could sing it all together.
We'll join you.
Adab, everyone. I think some of you remember the song. It's only 2 lines. I'll say the first line first, and then the second, and we'll sing together. The first line is, our imagination is our revolution. You want to say it with me?
Our imagination is our revolution.
The second line is, ancestors and martyrs we carry in action.
Ancestors and martyrs we carry in our actions.
And this is how the first line goes. Our imagination is our revolution. Now you.
Our imagination is our revolution.
And the second line goes like this. Ancestors and martyrs we carry in our action. Ancestors and martyrs we carry in our action. Now we'll do it together, okay? Our imagination is a revolution. Our imagination
is our revolution.
I don't think our ancestors can hear us at all. I'm sorry. We'll try one more time, okay? Okay. Our imagination is a revolution. Our imagination is a revolution. Ancestors and martyrs we carry in our action. Ancestors and martyrs we carry in our action. Our imagination is a revolution. One last time. Our imagination is a revolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why was that moment so important for you, Lubnah? I mean, it speaks for itself, but yeah.
I think there's some things that are very hard for words to express when we think about what it means to be with each other and what it means to hold with each other. Yeah.
Were there any moments throughout that you guys are thinking about or are coming up right now?
It can be personal, it can be collective, it can be anything. Here are a couple of questions for you. Oh, you raising your hand? Sorry. There were a couple of times where a question was asked, right, through the last 3 days, and everyone went whoosh over it, right? Because we don't have all the answers. So I guess one of the questions that I have is, are there any questions that you wanted for us to think through together? Because we're here. Anything that you've been mulling over and you're like, it would be nice to get some other people's brains on this. And we've seen brains 10 on 10, so.
Something that I commented on this earlier in a private conversation with Lubnah, but I want to see actually let me stand up. Now that we have, a big group, all of us can put our heads together. I think all of us have, to some extent, like what the issue is, or we know some of the issues that are causing a lot of the pain and suffering we see over the world. I can speak in more certain terms. I am choosing not to, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, what I've been noticing when I go to events like these, like like, I don't know, every art festival that I've been to in the past 2 months, perhaps, I've noticed that there's never really a call to action. There's never any real push to, I don't know, advocate for some kind of maybe structure where we can actually provide the education needed. Again, it's kind of difficult to not speak specifically, and all of you here, you're welcome to come and speak to me and get my opinion on the matter. But what I want us to think about is, if we actually want to do something and cause real change in our immediate surroundings, right? What does that look like? Because my contention is, and this might sound a little bit not the best, but going to or going to El Circal, it's not activism, right? Like, let's be honest with ourselves. The output isn't really there. It's incredible, the work that is being shown, and I do believe it's an importance, but I worry that the minute that I get in my car and I head back home, it's just a past experience at that point. Am I making myself clear?
Yes. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm done. I can put this down now.
I have an abstract answer to that very deep question. I propose that the absolute value of the white squares and the black balls must be an energy, a vibration, a wave that we must catch that can work against the violence and the trauma to help us get towards healing. The black balls being, something you can roll easily, something that might be shunned from society. And the white squares being those building blocks of society that may be considered holy, but aren't necessarily righteous in nature. But one of those moments for me was the conversation about healing in the outdoor eatery space that the man talked about yesterday in the future conversation.
Hi. I get your question, but sometimes we get tired as activists. In spaces like this is revolution because we deserve to take a rest, we deserve to talk with each other, we deserve to heal to each other too. So for me, that is important. It's a poem, I want to translate this feeling to a poem that is from Roque Dalton, that is a Central American poet, and he say that the most revolution thing you can do is you believe when you gather together, you never go back the same. So that is important. You learn something that will transform you. If you don't learn nothing at all, maybe it's because you don't want to do nothing, Sorry, for me, that is really important because these spaces I carry a lot in my heart, I carry a lot with my friends, I carry a lot in the resistance. It's not only about fight, it's not only about make a call, it's about your wellness too.
I was just thinking about back to the question about people that are not here. And what I find quite difficult is there are people that are not here who are very, very close to us, in the sense there's a workshop happening right now. And I was involved with the workshop earlier on, and now I'm here. And I want to go back, but I also want to be here. And I'm trying to work out what to do. So I'm wondering, do these mics stretch to the workshop? Would it stretch to that room?
I have no idea.
Do we know? Do we want to hear what the workshop
Do you want to go
people
try?
I'll go try. I'll take the mic with me and see if they have anything
All right,
they want to
yeah,
say
I
into
would
the
love
room.
that.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I'll keep testing as I go. Testing.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and while he does this, Jamal,
One,
did you
two,
have something
one,
to say?
two.
Oh.
I'm just bringing them. The workshop is here. And this is the room, this is the summary.
We lost him.
I think, if the mic works.
Sí, ¿qué tal? Muy buenas tardes, estamos aquí en Radio Tropiezo. Claro que sí, estamos transmitiendo desde lo que es Sharjah Art Foundation. Claro que sí, vamos a mandar saludos a todas las comunidades en resistencia y en rebeldía. Claro que sí, vamos a mandar un saludo a Samir Flores Soberanes. Claro que sí, vamos a mandar un saludo a toda la banda resistiendo y luchando allá en Palestina. Claro que sí, que viva Colombia. Estamos aquí en Radio Fanzine, terminando el fanzine.
Can you tell us what's happening?
Sana.
Salam.
I will tell the
Hi, this is Moza Al-Hamrani. Right now, we're creating a collective memory of this moment with Hasael from Creator Invertido. We're in the process of putting together the zine right now. We're going to be creating multiple copies to distribute to the participants here, so look forward to that, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Woo! Yeah, and I am Shay Muhammad, and I just want to say, free, free Palestine!
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Gorgeous. This was made at the workshop. If you guys want to see.
So maybe that responds to your question, maybe? No. I mean, I wanted to just go back to that, actually. And to also respond, I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. You said something about being tired of being an activist, and I kind of don't really agree with that. Nagat was saying earlier that you can't be a fascist feminist, and I think you can't afford to be a tired activist. So, yeah, I'd love to hear, because I'm sorry if I've misunderstood.
I thought I'd second what you just said, so thank you for that. But also to say that, as Nikat also said, that to be, like, you know, actually even Paul Preziato and many thinkers have talked about why feminists have not become militants. I want to join the arms movement. And then Preziato realizes that actually that's actually the success of feminism in wanting to talk about things, and that conversations can also have an effect or impact in changing something. But then one's also noticing at this very moment in our context that while in some places it's being censored even to talk about Palestine, and in another way, like in contexts very near to us, such as even in an art fair happening at this very moment, there's a strange kind of instrumentalization of Palestine. And you can see all kinds of ways in which there's just this kind of flagging of Palestine as if just doing that will make that art relevant or that event relevant. The kind of branding that is happening around or an art fair that's happening at the same time. So I need to think and process this, but it's a strange experience that on the one hand over here, we're having some real serious discussions about this and how do we think about this. And also on the other hand, there's this kind of trumpeteering of some sort in a completely market context that's trying to claim its relevance because there's a flag somewhere, there's a kind of, well, the logo and branding is all about, it's got the tatreez on it. So you're wondering really, how do you process this of even what is being said and the differentiation of where it's being said? So I know it's sounding a bit jumbled up, so I'm sorry about that, but I think this is something that I'm still processing in my head in just very narrow radius of this region, you know? So maybe some conversations around that will happen too.
Hi, I apologize with that. If you understand that, my English is not so well. But what I mean is not like I'm tired for being activist. I'm tired that being all day in the street, all time, in all time. So what I trying to say is, as an activist, we have to prioritize spaces that we can rest and we can talk and we can be with each other sometimes. So that is important for us as a collective. So then we rest and then we wake up another day and fight again. The fight, it never ends. I never get tired for being an activist because I can live with myself if the world is being so scary at this and I don't do nothing about it.
I just want to say one thing because I think there are different contexts here, right? And of course, the well-being, if you're an activist, is such a big part of your work. And I think that for me, sometimes I share the frustration that you expressed, right? Because it's like we spend a lot of time talking, but I'm coming to terms with, and this is something I'm thinking through, I'm coming to terms with what political action looks like in different contexts while also keeping your body safe, right? And it doesn't look the same everywhere, is the thing that I'm struggling with, and also figuring out, because UAE is a very specific context. There are things where we say, things we don't say, things we shh over, right? We all know this, like, it's not news to anybody. But I think activism and organizing look very different here. And I think Fatima and Lubnah was specifically talking about UAE-based collectives. Like, what does their work look like? And what does their organizing look like? Do you want to talk about that? Ask questions? Or?
If you tell me what I'm thinking about right now, I'm thinking about you all. Like, I'm thinking what you are thinking. What are you doing here? I feel like every person here have very unique personality or very unique work to do that will let me increase my knowledge and add up my answer for my questions. So like I met like very few people who let me feel like I'm not alone, especially like not everyone choose art easily. They choose the hard way because of society. Like you need to have good income, you need to have stable work because art is not like something easy to have and to make money by the side. So I was sitting alone there and I was like, I really wish I can like just go through every mind here and see your work, your personality. Like sometimes I was like just stare at the clothes even you wear is very unique and represent yourself even though, I don't know how to say it, like even though like it's amazing way to like introduce yourself. So I wish I can know everyone here and I wish you all the best of luck and meet you upcoming future. And I feel like art is for me is relieving from the trauma and stress happening through my life or through my friend's life. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think as we were debriefing,
well, this is an arbitrary thought that I had at the end of today, which is it takes an active effort to listen to someone, and everything has been interesting. But the second thought I had, but it's always interesting to overhear other people's conversations. So it takes a less effort to overhear other people's conversations in the audience. So I wonder, I guess, why is it that our brains kind of work in a way where, like, if we're uninvited to a conversation, we actively listen to those people, no matter how uninteresting it might be. But in a setting of, like, a talk or a podium-based thing, it takes more effort to listen to, but it's always more interesting. I know.
Speaking of overhearing conversations, another prompt we had for you guys was, have you guys gossiped about this event in your collectives? And if so, we want to overhear. You want the mic? You're
Hi. I wanted to share something with you about gossiping. In Mexico, we have a word for that. It's called el chisme. And we have even a verb that is chismear, that it means telling us gossips. And it's like a really a huge part of the culture. I think not in a bad way, but it reminds that we can come together and speak about things that sometimes we think is personal, but I think gossiping is also so political because it brings us conversations about things that resembles in our personal lives, but also explains so much about the world and about how we live in it and how the world impacts in our day-to-day lives. So I love that your closing remarks are about chismear and that you bring us all together in this circle. And just wanted to remark that one thing that I was gossiping with my collective, Terremoto, is this idea that the institution, the Sharjah Foundation, really do a step in share with us so many Palestinian voices that for me it's well, I live in the other side of the world, 10 hours time difference, so it's been really really something that I want to share when I go back. And also I want to remark that as cultural institution we have to take a political step, and I really appreciate that from Sharjah Foundation, because I think in a moment where genocide it's been I mean it's today, it's now, to place you know, to remark this position is so important. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other juicy pieces of gossip? I can wait. I can play the waiting game.
I also want to acknowledge that we sort of went boom, boom, boom in terms of, so feel free to return back to any of the questions that were asked or comments that were thought of.
Okay, I have one more. Does anyone want to talk about the people who weren't invited? Because I was trying to explain what I'm doing to my brother and his girlfriend, and I couldn't call it a conference. I was like, it's a symposium. He's like, what's a symposium? So I'm thinking about the conversations that we are having here and how they trickle outwards, if they trickle outwards, and in what language.
And at the same time, I'm thinking there's so many mechanisms, right? There's these mechanisms of exclusion, who is invited, who's not in the room, but also the fact that, as many of our friends have remarked, that this is one of the first spaces that they could meet in a very long time, especially Palestinians, you know, since October 7th. And so thinking of all these things, that this is a space where people are meeting, And this is a space where these exclusions are happening simultaneously. This is a space where we can talk about Palestine. This is a space where it is difficult to talk about Yemen. This is so many different, the spaces is holding many, many pushes and pulls, many, many contradictions. And I think sometimes in sitting with the contradictions, it can also be very easy for the body to sit in either binary of the contradiction, but to really just sit with, there's all this contradiction, and we can sit in it, question mark.
Absolutely can sit in it. I think that brings up this thing of, I'm actually defeating my own point by saying this, but there are a lot of things about, just the setup of a symposium that don't allow for certain things to happen. There's a lot of wonderful things that do happen, but for instance, Q&A, right? Every question has to have an answer, and the pressure's on the panelists to answer. And a lot of collective work is sitting in questions. You're just sitting in questions. So I was wondering if there were any questions that we wanted to sit in together. They don't need to have answers.
I know we said that we won't talk amongst each other, but I'm just, right? So a question that I'm sitting with or negotiating with is like, even though we've discussed about how the relationships that we have with each other is through collective work, after these 3 days, I feel like I'm going to take a break from using the word collective. Because even though it brings me so much joy, it brings me a lot of joy in working collectively with you guys, and I know what that sort of brings out. It allows me to rest. It allows me to, it sort of has a different momentum that I can share. But I think something that came up in some of the panels is that, collective work, it's sort of collective work through a set of values, right? So collective work is also done to hoard power. It's also done to disperse power. So it's that collective work and the collective work through. So I sort of want to reorient myself to the through what and what. I don't know if collectivization is answering that for me anymore.
I think one thing that I'm still wondering about is just everybody in this space, and if there's enough time to still form community. I don't know, I think the day is coming to close. I don't know how many of the people here I'm gonna see again. I think I resonate a lot about with what you said about, so many people coming from fascinating backgrounds and wanting to know the intricacies of who they are. I'm thinking about the fact that we have dinner after this, so maybe I'm gonna try to speak to some people and meet them. I don't know if you guys wanna do the same. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a question, but before I say the question, I just want to say this is our first time being invited to any symposium, not just March meeting. We're a small collective, we're volunteer run, it's less than 2 years old, so please excuse me if this is coming from just naivety, yeah? But as wonderful as the last 4 days, 3 days, I don't even know how many days it has been, but four. I was just wondering, it's an open question to everyone. It was really fast-paced. It was one thing after the other, and a lot of the ways that we were engaging with each other was either through the sessions and the panels or really quick conversations outside. And I'm just wondering if we can find other ways to engage with each other. Yeah, perhaps we can have different stickers that indicate different boundaries of like what kind of engagement we were seeking. Is it, yeah, I'm open, yeah. Or having a room to rest, perhaps, somewhere when it's so stimulating. Again, I don't mean to sound ungrateful. I'm very grateful. This is just something to think about because it was our first time, and let's say 20% of the time it felt like we didn't realize it was a networking event. And we felt a little like, oh, what? So this is just a question. Again, very, very grateful. Just, yeah, asking.
To piggyback on that, I would like to just say thank you to the foundations, the institute, all the speakers. I did have a chance to learn a lot. Can't meet everybody, but those that I did connect with, I hope that we follow up and create some type of vibration that can hopefully change the world. So thank you, Sharjah Foundation. Thank you, Africa Institute, and for the speaker. I'm not sure what your name is, but this right here is that moment, that breakthrough moment with the birds tweeting. I really appreciate the change in vibe that you created by just implementing small changes. That's fresh, very fresh. Thank you.
Thank you. I think
Does anybody know what the time is? There's time. How much time?
Till dinner? I mean, you can stay in this space if you'd like, but I think we want to keep it open. So if you'd like to say hello to somebody that you've been wanting to say hello to, you want to share a thought with a friend, you want to, I don't know, share resources with a collective that you want to collaborate with, this is your space to do so, and you can continue over dinner. But for now, thank you guys so much for sharing the space with us. Yeah, but we want to give them time to. It was really nice to meet you. Yeah,
great to meet you guys. And come talk to us afterwards if you want to. And make a note of who you want to chat with, because there was a lot of like cool stuff that people arrived at independently. And I feel like that's less work that you have to then do if you guys talk to each other. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.